Thank you all for coming. I know it's early, and I know it's taking a while, but we have to get through this, and we have to be out by a certain time. So I'm going to start with Sherry. And Sherry, you want to talk to the folks?
Good morning. Okay, so I'm just giving my treasurer's report this morning. So for those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet, I'm Sherry Adams. I'm the treasurer of GLPA, and we are in very good shape right now. I know that the numbers are printed very small up there, so I want to just read them to you so that you can hear what we have to say. Bottom line is that very few of the expenses from the conference have been entered into this. Our fiscal year runs from October 1st through September 30th, and just as a heads up, it doesn't match what we are reporting as our fiscal year to the IRS, so we may come to the membership sometime during the year to offer the opportunity to change and match our fiscal year that we use with our reporting to the IRS. And then our fiscal year currently being October 1st through September 30th cuts right through the middle of our conference year. So it makes it a little bit more awkward to have all of the conference revenue and expenses occurring within the same fiscal year, because they don't right now. So if we do change that, as we will propose to the membership later on, that it will match up so that the entire conference revenue and expenses will all jive. So that'll work out well. But just to read to you, the checking account currently holds $153,000. And again, the expenses for the conference haven't been taken out from that yet. There is a secondary account that the hosting site has, and they had a current balance of about $2,000. Our PayPal had about $10,000, and the Image Bank, which is where Dave Leake operates, selling our different shows out of that holds about $3,800, and the gift shop itself that Todd DeZeo runs has $129. So our total that we currently have at the end of this past fiscal year, ending at September 30th, was about $169,000. And again, that doesn't account for any of the expenses, very few of the expenses for the conference. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I don't think I heard you say this, but do you know off the top of your head, I know you got numbers for this year's conference, obviously, but last year's conference, how did the final tally end up? Was money given back to the organization or taken out? And if so, how much?
There was a profit from last year's conference, and I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I could get them for you during the time. You have them, Dan?
The net revenue from last year's conference was approximately $16,000,
okay,
of which approximately $6,000 went directly to GLPA operations over the year.
okay.
We did a very in-depth analysis of our year-over-year earnings at conferences, and because we are making quite a lot of money and we're in a healthy position, we are looking to reduce conference costs in the future.
Okay, great.
So keep in mind that this upcoming year is going to be a little bit out of the ordinary, since it's going to be a conference that's going to be amongst other regionals. So that's a little unique, but when we get back to 2018, where it's exclusively a GLPA conference, we'll be able to implement that well. So, any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Reading and approval of minutes by Dan Tell, our secretary.
The minutes from the previous conference business meeting were published in the winter newsletter for everyone to review. Hopefully you have reviewed them, and we need a motion from the floor to accept these minutes. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. I believe the motion carries.
Let's see. Next, well, the first thing on my list is a financial report by Sherry Adams, but she's already given that, so we'll go on. The president's report, I basically just talked about the conference host, and all of the people on the committee. And I'm not going to go over that now. The president-elect's report. Jeff, you want to come on?
Good morning. President-elect has a pretty easy job. Actually, it's just chairing two committees. The first one is the scholarship committee, and I just want to acknowledge their work. The scholarship committee always consists of the membership chair. In this case, that would be Paulette Buckton. Just wave or something high enough so everybody can see. Also consists of past presidents. In this case, that would be Gary Beckstrom. And then two members of the membership that are not part of the executive committee. In this case, serving in this capacity was Peggy Hernandez and Nick Anderson. Let's give them all a big round of applause. The committee approved 10 scholarships, which were actually all of the applicants for this year. Next year, it will be possible for you to apply for partial scholarships, if that would be something that would be more helpful for you. So you'll have a choice of applying for just the meal package, just the registration, or both. So keep that in mind if you know somebody that would benefit from that opportunity. So the president-elect also is the chair of the nominations committee, and it's at this non-electing year that we form that committee. And so the following people have graciously agreed to serve in that capacity. Tiffany Stone-Wolbrick. Big wave. We'll clap for all of them at the end, but thank you. And Mark Webb. He's with us in our heart, though. April Witz. Also in our heart. We have a big heart. And Keith Davis. And so if you have people in mind that you think would serve well in our elected positions, please feel free to pass on those ideas to those people. And thank you in advance for serving in that capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Past president's report, Gary Beckstrom.
Okay, I'm the past or has-been president. Sorry. Unlike Jeff, who says he doesn't have much to do, I have even less to do. I already did it. So, as the past president, I have nothing to report to the membership. However, the past president oversees the historian. So I wear more than one hat, GLPA. The historian does have something to say. I have an archive of photos, candid photos, and all the group photos, and they're cool to look at, but no one else has access to them. And so we've had some discussions, and right now the easiest place to put all of our candid photos is on Facebook. So if you're not on the Facebook, the GLPA Facebook page, you might want to do that if you're interested in looking at the photos, because eventually we will upload all the photos to Facebook. Renee back there, wherever Renee went, is not going to do it all at once, right, Renee?
That's right. Yeah, I'm not happening tomorrow.
And I don't have.
It's against my religious preferences to be on Facebook.
Well, then you know what? I'll go into Photoshop. Is there any? If you object to actually having your image on the web or on Facebook, let me know, because we do actually ask that of people. So, are you serious, Alan?
No, I'm serious about I don't have a Facebook account because I've chosen not to use that part of the executive.
You don't. You're not going to. No, you really don't need one. You just need to go to the Facebook page, and you'll be able to see the photographs.
Oh, okay, so I can see the photo.
But it's okay to have your mug there.
Oh, sure. Maybe you'll find a picture that I lost of me and Clyde Tombaugh, and then I can get a copy of it.
All right, that's fine. So we will eventually be doing that because it doesn't do any good for them to sit in the archives. I do not have all of them digitized. The older conferences, mostly in the 70s and the 80s, are still going to be digitized, but they'll get up there eventually. The other thing is, if you looked at the history section of the website, you would probably have noticed that it hasn't been up to date in the last couple of years. As soon as Mark Benjamin takes the flash drive that I just gave him and uploads the stuff, you'll find it will be up to date. The other thing that we're going to do is take, as you go through the sections for each of those conferences, there hopefully will be a link that Dana will put there to bring you to the group photo for each of those conferences. So all of those things will be online. So that's what the historian has to report. Anybody have any questions about that? And we'll continue on. It's your turn. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. With 2 R's. Two R's. And next we have our secretary's report with Dan Dell.
So the minutes from the exec committee meeting that just took place, as well as the minutes from this meeting, will be published in the winter edition of the GLPA newsletter for everyone to review. Although luckily no votes actually occurred during the exec meeting this year. We got a lot of stuff done without having to do much. A few votes did occur over the course of the summer that will also be published in the newsletter. All of them are related to updating the scholarship language because we voted on the scholarship before we created the precedent. We had to vote on everything we did to it. So basically just creating the partial scholarship, as well as some changes to the language of the scholarship that will basically make it easier to apply, hopefully. I think that's the bulk of what I have to say, because I already said the thing about budgets. So back to you.
Thank you, Dan. Next we have Mike Smale with the IPS report.
I'm pretty excited to be presenting from the scene of some Jurassic Park style movie. This is pretty great. Jungle Book, yeah. Please let me know if you see any large, wild creatures approaching from the side of the stage or anything. All right. Well, good evening or good morning, everybody. Welcome to the business meeting. My name is Mike Smale. I'm the IPS representative for GLPA, so I function as the conduit by which we can send all the cool stuff that we do here at GLPA up to our international colleagues, and then also take the information from our international colleagues and then bring it back down here to our regional members. This summer, IPS met in Warsaw, Poland. There were over 500 people there from 39 to 49 countries. It was a very well attended, very nice conference. If you would like more information on that and the rehash, you can check out the proceedings or the IPS website, the IPS conference website, ips2016.org. There's lots of photos and you can still access the schedule and things like that. In the interest of time though, I would like to look ahead to IPS 2018. So IPS meets every 2 years. That conference will be in Toulouse, France. And it is at the Cité de l'Espace, the City of Space, which I think the best sort of comparison is picture kind of like a Kennedy Space Center or like a Johnson Space Center, like a space museum visitor center. Toulouse is sort of the aerospace and the space hub of Europe. So Cité de l'Espace is this huge complex. You can see they have giant rockets. They have 2 planetariums. They have an observatory, big space exhibition museum, a lot of great space for us to talk and present papers and for exhibitor sessions and things like that. It'll be from July 1st through the 6th, 2018. And just the real quick bullet points, the important things. The theme of the conference is Planetarium Live in and outside of the dome. So focusing, again, on live presentation, both what you do under the dome and then what we do out in our communities. The Adler, we refer to that as here, there, and everywhere. So we want to meet our guests on site at our building, but also out in the communities and elsewhere around the world. So the important things, registration $365, banquet $90, hotels. So, excuse me, City of Space is located just sort of outside of the city center of Toulouse. We'll be having lots of like dinners and events in the pretty buildings in the city, but they have pre-booked 400 hotel rooms within walking distance of the City of Space, and those rooms range from 50 to 100 euros per night. Something that we've kind of noticed over the past few conferences, sharing economy, Airbnb has proven to be a very cost-effective option. There are a good number of Airbnb rentals available in Toulouse. Most of them tend to be toward the city center, but that may be an option as well. We have people from the region who Airbnb their hotel rooms at the IPS conference in Warsaw and got rooms for $25 a night, $40 a night, and like apartments, real nice, really great rooms. It is in France. Your airfare is going to be pricey. Once you get over there, though, fortunately the euro is down against the dollar a little bit, so hopefully your dollar will go a little bit further. And the conference website, ips2018toulouse.org, their Twitter account, a little sparse right now, but they'll be updating with more information as we get closer to the conference. Beyond 2018, the council meeting this summer, we also heard bids from sites for the IPS 2020 conference. And the way this works is at the council meeting, the council meets once a year, and next year's meeting, I will be carrying a vote on behalf of GLPA to the IPS for where GLPA would like to go for the 2020 conference. There are 3 bids on the table. One is from Planetario de Bogota in Colombia. And they would like to, sort of the theme of their conference will be to answer the question, what is the role of planetariums when immersive technologies and increased reality has made it to our homes? And they will use the topics of create, recreate, and co-create to answer that question. The second bid is from Tell Us World of Science in Edmonton. They invite us to think big and dream big, inspired by Alberta, Canada's nickname, Big Sky Country. They'll be investigating the big opportunities for the 21st century planetarium, looking beyond pre-rendered shows, targeting science visualization, artistic theater, presenting live science, and blending all that with modern and new planetarium technology. Last but not least, Houston Museum of Natural Science, Houston, Texas, is putting their conference together under the theme of IPS 2020 Visions. And it will, again, with Houston's history and importance to the American space program, it'll sort of focus on respecting and recognizing the past, looking at the current status of the space program, the manned space program, and then also pushing forward into the future. All right, so again, the important bullet points. The 3 bids, again, if you want more information, there was a poster session. Hopefully you got a chance to read up on the bids and actually vote for where you think we should go. If not, again, check the conference proceedings after the fact. There will be a lot of this information in there. All 3 bids are very good bids. I have no concerns about any of the sites not being able to pull off a quality conference. There's a little bit of variation. They're all in the summer. Bogota's in July, Edmonton, June, Houston, August. And there's some little things. So Edmonton has bid a couple times. So they have shown interest in hosting a conference. Bogota, we've never hosted a conference in South America, so this could potentially be the first IPS in South America. And Houston is going to be probably the cheapest option, the one that the most folks from GLPA, and certainly from the United States, would be able to attend. So lots of interesting sort of pros and cons to each of the locations. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. You can shoot me an email, put that at the end. Be happy to talk to you at length about these bids. And so interestingly enough, one more thing that reflects nicely on us. The IPS Council will be meeting next year in St. Louis immediately before the Pleiades National Planetarium Conference. They know we do good things, they like what we do, and all the affiliate reps from all the IPS organizations are being invited to stay for the conference, to see what we do, to see what a really great, solid American Planetarium Conference is like. So we'll have a pretty good turnout next year, an international presence, and a chance to, again, represent GLPA, to do what we do, to present papers and posters and workshops, and really impress and help our international colleagues. All right, last slide. One more thing that came up. Some of you may have seen Sue Button's presentation yesterday. IPS is also sanctioning and pushing forward with 2 new educational sort of professional development projects. The links up there will take you to the pages on the IPS website so you can read more about them. Voices from the Dome is an opportunity for planetarians around the world to record audio snippets about astronomy or local cultures and myths or planetarium operation that can then be shared with any other planetarium around the world. And then on the right, A Week in the United States is a sort of turning the tables on, some of you may be aware, and some of you have actually participated in, the Week in Italy for an American Planetarium Operator contest, professional development opportunity, where somebody from the United States goes to Italy for a week, tours around multiple planetariums, and presents lessons. We are sort of flipping the script, and now there's a Week in the United States for an international planetarian opportunity. Sue Button's leading the charge on this, and the way this is currently going is that we're going to start small with two sites in the U.S. in 2017 and 2 in 2018 who will agree to host that international planetarium. The way it's currently structured is there is a $500 donation from a private source to go toward travel for these, and we're strongly suggesting, encouraging the host site to pay the remaining $500 to help offset airfare. And I think we're going to talk more about that later on. So that may not be entirely accurate at this time. But anyways, we're looking for, so currently Casper, Wyoming has volunteered to host a planetarium in 2017. Sue is still looking for 1 more site for 2017 and 2 sites for 2018. So check the IPS website, or you can talk to Sue Button if you have any questions about those. There are also IPS elections are underway. If you are an IPS member, you can vote through the IPS website for IPS's officer positions, president-elect and secretary and treasurer. And we have a couple of GLPA members running for those positions as well. I think that's all I have for now. Are there any questions about IPS or GLPA or how we work together or things like that? Oh, yes. So later this year, the IPS has been working with this Vision 2020 committee on a number of initiatives to help IPS grow and better plan for the future, to continue ensuring the sort of strong membership and growth and interaction and professional development that we see, very fortunately, here in our region. So Vision 2020 has recommended a number of sort of laid out a roadmap, a number of suggestions for how IPS can meet their sort of future needs and continue to go and grow. And there will be voting coming up very shortly online related to some of those categories. Oh, right. Okay, so as Dan touched on the other day, there's currently some parliamentary procedures of things. They currently require votes to be made on paper ballots for these sorts of things. So if you're an IPS member, you will actually receive a ballot in the mail. You'll send it back in. There are machinations going behind the scenes to bring us into last century and do some electronic voting for future votes. So that's something that we're working on as well. So yeah, a lot going on with IPS. It's a busy year. So, yes, Joanne.
Do you want to talk about the council meeting being at the Pleiades conference?
Sure. I mean, as I said, so the Pleiades conference in St. Louis, Anna Green will talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, so the IPS Council, again, will be inviting all the affiliate reps from all the other regions. They'll be meeting for 2 days on the front end of that conference. And again, like you said, those people are being encouraged to stay through the conference to learn more from what we do. All right, thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike. Next, we have the membership report. Paulette Upton.
All right, so good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, wow, you're all awake. Awesome. Okay, so I am the membership chair. My name is Paulette. If I haven't said hi to you, I'm sorry. It's been a little bit of a busy conference because we're looking to upgrade in the relatively near future at our institution, maybe, hopefully. So our membership is doing pretty well. We have about 275 members, pretty healthy for the most part. We had 32 new members this year, which is a lot, and 28 of them actually attended the conference, which is excellent. Give them a round of applause. Yes. My report is full of all sorts of pretty pictures, so I'll sort of go through these. We have some museums, science centers, colleges, schools, independent businesses, and I'm not quite sure what the others are when we have that other. Worldwide, we have memberships in the United States. We also have some people that are members from Europe, Central Asia, and a few in the Asia Pacific. And then most of these maps that we have right here are actually on our website. So when you go on our website, they should be up, and Dana and I are going to work on updating that soon so that it is the most recent one. And GLPA members by state, we have 25 in Illinois, 42 in Indiana, 38 in Michigan, 9 in Minnesota, 35 in Ohio, and 15 in Wisconsin, 110 everywhere else. So, that's it.
Just something that we didn't do last year. Is anyone in this room not on the GLPA Domes listserv email list? If I get a show of hands, you're not on this email list, or you've never ever heard of it?
If you would like to be, email me, and I'll put you on the server.
Yeah, we don't want to add people who don't, necessarily want to be on it because we don't want to spam people. But this is the #1 way to find out about conference registration deadlines, when materials become available on the website, and all sorts of really good stuff like that. So yes, please email Paulette. You can find her contact information on glpa.org on the exec committee. You can actually find the mailing list under mailing lists on the site too. And so you can either be added by applying to that or emailing Paulette directly, or actually me or Dana too, I think.
And for those of you that want one of my business cards and didn't get a Steminista business card, see me after this because I've got a stack of them. Yeah.
Immediately after this meeting, could you just blast out a letter on that so that we'll know if we're receiving the content that you're sending out?
Yes. Yeah, you
We'll
can do
know
that.
on the list.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Paulette.
Should we send that email right now? That way you'll know it was sent out if you didn't get one.
Please.
Go for it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Next, we have the development report from Dave Lee.
Thank you. This is my first conference as the development chair since I've been trying to fill Bob Bonneter's size 22 shoes. We have 26 vendors helping us out this year, 26 conference sponsors. The record, I'm told, was actually last year in Grand Rapids where there were 28, so 26 is pretty darn good. This includes 4 brand new sponsors, the Museum of Science, Canon, Navitar, and Physics Foundry, so we welcome them. We had 5 hours of plenary time, which is actually the fewest number of hours since I was handed the chart, which goes back to 2008. 5 shows, we hope you checked out the 5 full shows in the evening. And we have a new evaluation form that we're asking vendors a lot more questions now. So hopefully we'll get a lot more feedback from them. So that's really all I have, except please give it up once again for all of our conference sponsors who really help to keep our registration costs low. We really appreciate their involvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next, we have the publications report with Bart Benjamin.
Good morning, all. For those of you who are new, GLPA Publications refers to our two primary regular publications, and that being the GLPA newsletter and the conference proceedings. We've had both for quite a while, and we're appealing for input from the members with respect to those two publications. To that end, you may have noticed a couple of questions in the conference questionnaire about the GLPA newsletter and the proceedings. Please voice your opinions, because we're at kind of a critical juncture where, with regard to publications, there are many options now with internet and IT kinds of options now available to us. So we really want the members' input on how the newsletter is valuable to you, if it is, and any suggestions for both publications moving forward. One of those options, by the way, that we are considering is producing a color printed newsletter, in part because GLPA is doing so well financially at this moment in time, and all indications are that that trend will continue. After we receive the results of the conference questionnaire, which you all will complete, right? The executive committee will make a decision on this issue, and we will keep you informed of what that is, and when, if it is decided to do a color newsletter, when that will begin. Of course, I should remind you that those of you who get the digital version have been receiving color for several years now, so this is only the printed version of the newsletter that is not in full color. In the autumn newsletter, I invited members, particularly younger members, to offer their suggestions and volunteer their skills in a way that would make the newsletter more relevant to 21st century planetarians. I would especially welcome any individuals who might be interested in authoring a regular column. I really want the newsletter to become more relevant and perhaps a little bit thicker in terms of content versus advertising. So that's part of the reason that I make this appeal. And so please consider that, and consider offering your knowledge, expertise to make the newsletter more relevant, more important, and better for the future. Speaking of the newsletter, this summer I created an 8th generation of the GLPA newsletter for a new desktop publishing program. You can read more details about that in the current autumn newsletter. This has to be done periodically because the programs that they are based on sometimes are no longer available. So if I were to eventually, if I were to stop being the editor, my successor would have a much easier time of picking up where I left off if the program still exists. So that's why we have to port it over to a new platform every so often. With regard to advertising, GLPA newsletter continues to attract advertisers and provide GLPA with a steady source of revenue. We now have 14 contractual advertisers, which occupy 15 3/4 pages of the newsletter, and provides GLPA with an annual revenue of $4,745. The fact that we have so many pages, and it is a record number of pages, is one of the reasons that I'm asking for more other content, because I want the newsletter to be more than just an ad book. And so I'd like to see more in it from the members. I realize the conference proceedings is a place where most of our papers and ideas come to pass, but there are certainly things that happen during the rest of the year, so those things, please consider forwarding those to me so that they can be included in future issues of the newsletter. So thank you for the sponsors, because that $4,745 is important to us and helps to make GLPA able to do more and to do as much as we do for our members and other regions. There has been an issue with my email address in the past. Some of you, when I send out a member-wide message from our web server, it comes from publications@glpa.org, which works fine, but sometimes it doesn't work fine when you reply to that. There was a couple of inclusions that never got to me in the last newsletter. And so I feel compelled to tell everyone that perhaps instead of just hitting the reply button, you should send correspondences to me at my iCloud email address that is listed in the newsletter, so that you have a much better chance of it getting to me. And one little footnote, when I do receive something from you, I always reply that I received it. So if you send me something sometime and you hear nothing, that may be a red flag that I didn't get it. With regard to proceedings, the upcoming proceedings will be the 33rd in GLPA's history and Dale Smith's 29th proceedings, since he assumed those duties. Thank you, Dale. He assumed those duties following his own 1988 conference, so thank you, Dale. Dale, do you have anything that you want to add about the, oh, there you are.
Yeah, one note, this year we're going to be abandoning sending proceedings out on the disc. We'll have it on the website.
Yes, I was going to mention that too. Absolutely. This will be a kind of a history-making year in terms of the proceedings, because this will be the first year that we won't be sending out a DVD disc. We've had the capability for a while. The hitch was what to do about the photographs. So we will send an email message to everyone to notify you when the proceedings are done, and you will download those just like you can download all the previous 33 proceedings from GLPA website. As far as the photos are concerned, we're going to use Facebook. Just as we have done in recent months, as Renee has done in recent months, to post some of the photographs from recent conferences. We're going to continue that trend. And as we pointed out before, you do not need to have a Facebook account to access the photos or to see the photos. You do need an account if you want to make comments or add captions, but you can look at the photos without having any connection with Facebook other than going to the...
Can you download them?
I think you can. I think you can. We're also looking at a way to download the whole lot in a zip file. So for people that want every photo like they do when they got the DVD disc, it's really cumbersome to try to do that one by one from Facebook. So we're looking at a way to do that so that you can download the whole zip file to your hard drive, and then you can do with it what you want. So that is one thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is one thing that we thought of and we want to include, so that members have the same options they had when they got the DVD disc. I think that's all I have, unless there are questions. Oh, yes.
Question, maybe it's for Dale. Now that we're going back to that, will it just be this year's proceedings and not the archives anymore?
All of the previous proceedings are already on the website.
Yeah, they've always been there. They've always been there. So, right. So, yeah. So it's just the PDF files. It'll be just a list of. You'll see the years, and you can download any and all of the previous conference proceedings in it. If you missed one. Right. Well, that's our thinking, and we would have done it sooner, but the bugaboo was the photos and how to do that. And now that we found a solution to that, it's full speed ahead. Thank you very much. Question? Yeah. No, I didn't, but I looked it up just in case someone asked. It's 115.
So just to jump back to that listserv discussion, if you don't have an email now from Paulette with the subject Glipadomes listserv members, you might also have one from me, because I guess we did it at the same time. Yeah, so you should have 2 emails, one from Paulette and one from me. If you don't have those emails, please do get on the website and subscribe to the listserv, or email Paulette, myself, or Dana to be added, preferably Paulette.
Thanks, Dan. Let's see. Education report, Susan and Buck cannot be here. They've got a kind of a family emergency. Technology report, Dana. Dana Thompson is our technology chair.
Good morning, everyone. All right, so I'm tech chair for GLPA, and first and foremost, I want to thank and have everyone give a big hand to Tom Dobes, our videographer for the conference. And of course, his team that came with him as well. They've been working very hard. Tom Dobes also continues to be our excellent server and site manager for our website. We're always trying to make improvements to the GLPA website, glpa.org, both on the visual side of things, but the back end of things as well. To help with that, we're having a search for a theme that we can now purchase. We're no longer trying to develop a theme for our own website ourselves. So Adam Lease and Tom Dobes are helping with that search to purchase a new theme, make things look a little bit more up-to-date on your website. We're also exploring possible solutions for GLPA Graphics Bank or repository. Waylena McCauley and I are really trying to get that started and underway and kind of rolling along. So we're meeting soon to really figure out how we can do this on our site and host it on our site so that we don't have to rely on another site or direct people to another site that might eventually not be there anymore. We want to make sure that we have control over all of this media that's going on our website. Quick mention about Twitter and Facebook. Again, we mentioned that the photos were going to go on Facebook, but our Facebook likes are up 13%. Thank you to Renee Kerrigan for that. Yeah, go ahead. So Renee posts most of the content that you see, including all the wonderful pictures throughout the conference and everything. Our Twitter account is up 20% of followers, and thank you to Mike Smale for that. So there are many people involved with the technology committee, a lot that I can't speak of right now, but if you would like to be involved and aren't in any of these projects that I mentioned, or if you have an idea for a new project, please reach out to me or anyone else on the tech committee. We'll be happy to listen to what your new ideas are or try to get you involved in one of these, okay? We also had our special interest group meeting at lunch on Thursday, and it was a little hard to hear some of the conversations that were going on, so I'll send an email to everyone that was at that meeting with an update on where we are at with the digital repository. And if you weren't there, you weren't able to make it, and you want to be on that email, get with me right after this meeting, okay? All right, so thank you to everyone who also serves on the tech committee that I didn't get to mention. So let's give everyone that is involved with that a big hand. Thank you. And Dave Leake's here sitting next to me. Not just a prop, but he wants to talk about our AV and updates on that. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Yes, I'm also the AV curator for GLPA. And no, my Cub hat's in my truck. So I put together a handout of all the shows that GLPA offers, and it's a yellow handout that's right down here on the table with all the prices and what's included and everything. A lot of the programs are classical programs, which means you get a set of images that you get to do something with, and a soundtrack and a script. But some of these shows are $25, so if you want an inexpensive program, grab that handout down there. GLPA now has 2 full dome shows now. I want to mention Cosmic Colors. We have sold 85 Cosmic Colors kits. 5 vendors now, including one in Europe, are distributing Cosmic Colors. It's really inexpensive, $300 for 4K, $250 for 2K, and $200 for 1K. That's if you're a GLPA member. And want to throw a shout out to Ken Murphy and his team. If you saw Friday night, The Stargazer, they did a fantastic job with that show. Just amazing. And very briefly, I know since we have a lot of new members, the show has Jim Kaler in it. Some people say, who the hell is Jim Kaler? Jim Kaler, when we actually in Champaign hosted back in 1989, we needed a speaker and we needed to get one cheap. So we asked Jim Kaler to come over. He was a U of I astronomy professor, University of Illinois, and he gave the first astronomy update. And we didn't know that that was going to be a continuing thing. So if you saw Dr. Kachuk's talk, his astronomy update, Jim Kaler was the first person to do that back in 1989. He was also the Spitz lecturer in 1999, and his talk was so good that two of our folks, Bob Bonadur and Dave DeReamer, wrote The Stargazer kind of around his Spitz lecture, and that debuted in, I believe, 2002 as slides and CDs and things like that. So it's really nice that Ken and his team have converted that to full dome. So, and it's very inexpensive, $150 for 4K. $100 for 2K, and if you need just a playable movie file, Ken will even format for that for you himself for $50. So I also need to mention this is the very first GLPA show that's captioned. So if you buy the show, like at 4K, 2K, you get two shows really, one regular and one that's captioned. So Dana has fixed things up so you can order that off the GLP website. Paid by credit card now, comes with a nice poster and a teacher's guide. So again, thank you, Ken, for doing that. And again, lots of shows available, so take advantage of that resource.
Is the kit still available for a slideshow type planetarium? We've been using it for 15 years. It's our most popular one. And for classic planetariums, because there's still a lot around.
The images are there. The problem you're going to have for slide-based shows is I was told that you can no longer get slide film. So, yeah, but otherwise, yeah, you can still get the shows with the individual images. That if you got a way of doing that, then great.
Slide film has existed for 2 years.
What?
Slide film has not existed for 2 years.
I'm working with Gamatech as a way to get them a supply.
Okay.
And it does exist as far as
Are there any other questions for technology? Okay. If you have any, if you don't even want to just like be involved or anything, but just want to offer suggestions or comments, please also reach out, okay?
So back to the listserv thing and people on the live stream. If you are on the listserv, you don't need to reply to that email. That doesn't do us any good.
Okay, thank you, Dana, and thank you, Dave. Now we get to conference planning. Gary Tomlinson. He's going to talk about this conference, the next conference, the conference after that. Gary, 1 hour.
Thank you. Jim Kaler was our second update lecturer. We should do a door prize for who was the first. Last night, Gary, is this an appropriate place? Can you understand me? I'm having trouble understanding over here. Can you? Right there? That's better? Okay.
And talk slow. Don't do it
Talk
selling Nazi planes.
slow. Okay. Last night, Gary Samson said some nice things about me, but I could not do this without my committee of Janet, Tom, Dan, Mark, Waylena, and Todd. So I would hope that you would give them a round of applause for all those things. On that table next to Dave Lake's list is an addendum to your delegate list that was printed, and so if you want to pick that up after this meeting, please do so.
Most people should have gotten it in their notebooks, but if they didn't, because there aren't enough.
If you don't have one, there's some there. As Paulette said, we have 32 new members at this conference. Not all of you went to the new member orientation, which means you did not get this list, this little helpful handout on how to attend a conference and get the best use out of GLPA that you can. So if you did not attend that and would like a copy, I made copies for everybody. I don't want to have to take them back home. See me after this business meeting. That also means you didn't get your GLPA pen. See me afterwards. Okay? And remember, if you're having trouble attending a conference, justifying it to your administration, or if you have to do a report justifying your attendance at this conference after the conference, we have the top 10 list on the website of what you get or would get, can get, should get out of a GLPA conference that you can cut and paste and make reports and do everything you want. So please check that out. And Anna, you can make your way up because we're going to talk about the 2017 conference in St. Louis. Any questions on anything I've said so far? I don't want to walk too far because this is water here. No? Okay. Don't see any. Come on up. Oh, she is.
Yay, there it is. Hi, I'm Anna Green. I am the manager of the planetarium at the St. Louis Science Center, the McDonald Planetarium. We are a classic style optomechanical only planetarium. We have a 24-meter dome, and we're very excited to have all of you, plus the 6 other United States regionals, attend at the Pleiades Conference next year in St. Louis. So this is the conference logo that you see behind me, with, of course, our unique planetarium in the front. I don't think any of you can read that. It's kind of small. But it's just the who, what, where, when, why, how of why you should be going next year. So first of all, who? You. And any interested planetarians that you may know from any of the 7 regionals in the United States. Also, as Mike Smale mentioned earlier, we are getting interest from IPS as well. So we're going to have an international flair at this conference too. We're pretty excited about that. So as I mentioned, it is a combined conference of all 7 regionals. This is the first time that there's been an agreement to do this from all 7 regionals. It's going to be at the James S. McDonald Planetarium at the St. Louis Science Center. And also we're going to be on site at the Airport Renaissance as well, and we'll get to that in a little bit. It's most importantly of all, if you use a smartphone and you use the calendar feature, I want you all to pull out your phones, open up your calendar, and make sure you mark down in there October 10th through 14th of 2017. Excellent, I love it. And why? Well, this is because we want to give all the planetarians in the United States a chance to meet together, learn from each other, meet new people that perhaps you never had the opportunity to meet before. We're expecting this to be a really big conference. We're expecting it to be a really good thing. So we hope that you all will make it. The conference, as I said, will be both at the St. Louis Science Center as well as at the Airport Renaissance. A block of rooms is being held. Registration will open the beginning of November, and the rooms will be $109 a night. Book early, book early, book early, book early. We do have the hotel, but we are expecting that we will run out of rooms. So you will actually be able to book your room before registration for the conference will open. So once again, book early so you have that room.
Repeat that date again for those of us who can't see it. No, right when the booking early opens.
It's going to open the beginning of November. We'll send notification out. This year, yes, next month. Yeah, next year would be bad. So St. Louis can be conveniently reached by planes, trains, and automobiles. In fact, that's how I got to GLPA last year, by all 3 of those methods. So we do have an Amtrak station. You can take that in. Megabus does come to St. Louis. Driving's pretty easy. We have lots of major interstates that come into us, and we have several airlines that fly in. We recommend Southwest Airlines. It's a really easy terminal to get in and out of. Southwest has been adding more flights to St. Louis recently, so we do recommend that. However, if Southwest is not convenient for you, American, Delta, United, all of those major airlines also fly into Lambert St. Louis International as well. So of course, we've already been over the conference participants, are all the organizations. I want to give you guys a peek at some of the activities. So St. Louis is a pretty cool, unique place. Our 5 major institutions are supported by taxpayer money, and because of that, the 4 that reside within Forest Park are free admission. And we want to give you time to explore Forest Park as well. We've been named the #1 urban park in the United States 2 years running. Our zoo was just named the best free attraction in the United States. Our art museum has been named the 2nd best in the world. So we have some pretty major attractions right by the planetarium in the park. So we are going to give you time during the conference to go explore that. Or just take a walk in the park. Forest Park's beautiful in fall. We're going to be doing things from the different regionals. We want to have that cultural flair that all the regionals are going to bring. So we're going to be doing things like Constellation Shootout. That's part of SEPA. So we're looking forward to doing that. We're going to be having a star party, weather permitting, cross your fingers. We're going to also hopefully be having a post-conference off-site trip to Cahokia Mounds for some archaeoastronomy. And spaces will be limited on that, but we'll have more information as we get a little bit closer. I was hoping that I could show you the map of Forest Park, but just trust me that the green square, which is probably all you see, is Forest Park. I also was going to give you some pictures of our cute new polar bear at the zoo and stuff like that to try and entice you a little more. So again, I mentioned that our planetarium is unique. Wish you could see that. That's our brand new star field. So we just did some upgrades this year before the conference. So we have brand new stars in our projector. We just got LED cove lighting. We just upgraded from having incandescents, so we're pretty excited about that too. We have, as I mentioned, a 24-meter dome, or approximately 80 feet. We do intend to make sure that all sponsors are able to install in our dome to show. We will work with you on that, so please contact me if you are a sponsor and you have questions about that. If you want to do a site visit to kind of get an idea of the space, we have a little bit of a unique situation going on where we don't have fixed chairs and we don't have walls. So, I mean, we do obviously to hold up the dome, but there's spaces between them. So there's free flow between our dome and the exhibits. So if that's confusing, we understand. Come visit us, or I can send you pictures. So the conference hotel is the Airport Renaissance. As I mentioned, it's going to be $109 a night. This is the hotel that the Mercury 7 astronauts stayed in when they would come to St. Louis to work on their capsule. So you'll be staying where some pretty awesome historical figures have walked. The Airport Renaissance is offering us quite a bit. They're really wanting to support us on this. They're very excited to have us come in. And I can tell you the food's really good too, so get excited about the food for next year as well. And again, I was hoping to show you just all the multitude of things in St. Louis. We're going to be trying to work to get you some deals as well, so if you want to stay, bring your family and explore either before or after the conference. We're going to try and make that an exciting time for you guys to have a little mini vacation if you like. So, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I left a stack of business cards on the front table, so when you come to grab all your other goodies, you can grab one of my business cards as well. Contact me, but my information's up there. We do have a website. There's nothing on it yet, but there will be shortly, and it will be www.pleiades2017.org. We also now have a Facebook and a Twitter. Facebook is Pleiades NPC 2017. And the Twitter handle is @Pleiades_NPC. If you follow Lipidomes on Twitter, you can find us through Lipidomes. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Question?
Is the Renaissance Hotel and the Science Center walkable, or is this going to be a shuttle bus?
Oh, it's going to be a shuttle bus. Sorry, I did forget to mention that. And we are trying to plan a way to make that a more enjoyable experience for all of you to be sitting on the buses together. So. Any other questions? Yes?
If people drive, will they be able to just drive themselves from the hotel? Is there parking at the museum, the park?
Yes, there's parking at the planetarium, there's parking in the park, and there will be parking at the hotel as well. So if you do want to drive your own car, that's totally fine. We also have the Metrolink right by the airport, so you can actually take a shuttle from the hotel to the airport and drop onto the Metrolink there and take that into the city as well if you like. Yes?
What's your best guess on how many people? I know you said really big, but...
The numbers have varied. I'm thinking at minimum 200. We're thinking probably in the 300, maybe 400 range, and my dome can hold approximately 400 people comfortably. So. Also, I did forget to mention we are looking at hosting a mini LIPS like we do the GLPA here. Thank you, Carrie. And we will be releasing more information on that too as time moves on. Great. Okie doke. If you think of anything else, come find me and we'll chit chat. Thank you.
She mentioned the hotel cost was around 100, it's closer to 110 plus 16% tax, and she's trying to keep the registration around 175, including meals, except for the banquet, which will be $112.13. Yeah, but yeah, and it'll take a long time to get it. Now I feel like Donald Trump. We're going to try to get the registration website up much sooner, late winter, early spring if possible. That means if you're interested in doing some workshops, that information you've got to get on the stick as soon as you get back from GLPA to get some workshop submissions in. You'll see more information on that later. 2018, we're meeting East Lansing, and here's where audience participation comes in. We are going to try and experiment 2018 with a longer conference going all the way through Saturday evening at 9 o'clock. We're trying to end all sessions at 9 o'clock. We've added a few hours. We're not trying to add anything to the conference with the possible exception of maybe perhaps a host planetarium show if they have one they'd like to show. A maybe, hopefully, a little bit more relaxed conference. So that means it would start Wednesday about 6 p.m., about our normal time. It would go all the way through Saturday at 9. Anybody want to say anything?
Good idea. Thank you.
Sounds awesome.
The dates, I don't remember the dates.
It's going to be roughly the 10th through the 13th.
10th through the 13th of October. So it's a normal time. I didn't remember the dates because we were working with two. It turns out we're going to be there on the non-football date. Yeah. We don't know yet about doing a Sunday morning breakfast, but I got the feeling that perhaps people may, even at 9 o'clock on Saturday night, decide I might go home and not do the other night at the hotel. Anybody thinking along that line just as... The question was, if the conference ends Saturday night at 9 o'clock, would some people think, I won't get a hotel for Saturday night, I will go home? So that's a significant number. Okay, thank you. That helps in planning.
I would like to comment first. So this is the last couple of years. But instead, so the Saturday morning schedule has to allow adequate time after the sun's up and maybe after we go to check out, pack, and load cars without missing some event. So just adequate.
Alan's comment was time to check out from the motel. I was checked out by 6 o'clock a.m.
I agree with you, but I'm saying so that if you need more time, there's a little more time in there so you don't have to cut the business meeting or up.
So you don't have to miss something Saturday morning to check out. Yeah. We got another question right here.
Yes, could we, since I'm sorry I haven't heard time, you and Ann talking, could we ask the opposite question of the one that you just took the survey out of?
Yes? You want me to rephrase the question such, how many people would stay Saturday night in the conference hotel and leave Sunday? Slightly more than people who would save the money.
It also depends on location.
Can we add to that? Given that, would people also stay for something like a social brunch or breakfast the following day? So basically, we could schedule some non-plenary event on Sunday in such an event. Would people stick around for that?
If we extend it to end Saturday night.
Right, there would be something else like Sunday morning, like farewell, hey, let's hang out for a little bit, something like that. Right, so in addition to Alan's point, one of the other things we discussed is, so currently the state meetings happen at Saturday breakfast, which we realize is not super convenient, especially when you have to check out of the hotel. So one of the things that we discussed at exec is to follow IPS's lead and move the GLPA business meeting, the meeting you're in right now, to just before the banquet. I mean, still leaving like the changing time, so it'd be Friday afternoon, and moving these state meetings to before the business meeting.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Glad everybody likes those ideas.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question about that? I'm confused. That would still be Saturday morning though, right?
No. Friday afternoon.
This meeting is Saturday. Oh, sorry, you said move the business meeting to Friday? That's the part.
And the state. And the state meeting.
And the state, okay.
And not at breakfast. Okay. Yeah.
I was just told we need to wrap this up because there is something happening in here, so. Yeah, a play or something like that. I just want to mention that Tom is going to try, barring technical difficulties, to get the videos up very quickly. And so come see me afterwards. But I want the state meetings have to be talked about. Illinois, when are you having a state meeting?
May 14th.
May 14th. Where at?
Olivet.
Olivet.
Bourbonnais.
13th. May 13th, sorry.
Oh, May 13th. Okay. Indiana's doing Saturday, April 22nd in Maryville. They have a new state chair, Barbara Williams. Michigan doesn't know when they're doing it.
Thank you. Yes, that's where we are. And I would also like to announce we have a new state chair for the first time in 20 years. And we had a real election with 2 people who were willing to be nominated. Barbara Williams is the new state chair as of now. Thank you all for 25 years of being Shanghai to be in the state chair and then being reelected. So that's great, and I thank all of the group for that. And it is the 22nd.
And Shannon is the new Michigan State Chair. We just don't know what we're doing yet. So, Ohio.
I'm meeting at Toledo, Sandusky, date to be determined.
Wisconsin,
Wausau, May 12th and 13th.
12th and 13th. The only other thing I want to say as I give the microphone to Dale. Evaluation. Please, fill them out, get them to me.
For those of you who didn't hear what he said, get those evaluations out of your notebooks, fill them out, and give them to him.
I have extra if you need it.
Is there any old business?
After this meeting.
Yeah, there'll be people at both doors to collect them. Is there any old business? New business? Then we are adjourned. Excuse me? Oh, we have to move. Move for adjournment. Second there. Everybody in favor of adjournment? Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you.